strict orders from Alita to make sure you recorded today because she couldn't come.
I walk out. I take my wallet out of my pants so that I can sit down without shifting my back funky, and then I walk off and forget my wallet. That's not good. So. Okay. Good morning, everyone. How we doing?
Great.
Yay.
Great.
The only thing I ask is be sure and mute when you're not speaking, only so we don't get too much noise and stuff in the background.
Going off.
And I'm going to mute my phone. And I'm going to share my screen. There you go. Can you guys see my screen? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes,
see my
yes.
screen. Okay. So what's happened and what is continuing to happen is our greenhouse, while fairly new and updated and stuff when we joined 3.5, 4 years ago, has become outdated and a little bit slow. So they keep going through things like last week they did the marketing section and it's a whole lot better, faster, and more interactive. They just rolled out the new learning section. So I thought I would spend a few minutes in there trying to hit on a couple of topics that all of you might enjoy and then tell you, be sure that you go in and click around and play. And Tanya, by the end of the day, you should have your credentials. We just have to get you all in the systems and pushed out. And so Lance, you can start telling her what classes she has to take in here because you're her boss now, right? Okay, got it. So inside the greenhouse, there are two ways to get to Be Better University. In Learning, Be Better University, and as the screen comes up, you can click here. Or you can type in up here at this address bar, BeBetterUniversity.com, and skip the greenhouse altogether. Now, the only trick to that then is you got to remember your login for the greenhouse. Or you already have to be logged into the greenhouse so that when you come here, you can go right to the Be Better University. But I'm liking that we have a shortcut now that you don't have to, go through 37 steps to get there. And you continue to get inside. And here is the new Be Better University. It's designed with a lot quicker. I don't know what the background is that's making it work, but it's so much faster. The search bar is much better than it was. And it has some things in here that you can look for learning tracks. So for instance, this is some agent training that's coming up. The Virtual Agent Series, how to do a virtual listing, objections. Then we have our products and tools, and trendings would be classes that people are starting to take more often. So these are the more popular classes. But then you also have all these other things over here, and we're going to go through some of them. Learning Library. Now, this pretty much just brings up a course of all the classes. You can see that this bar is way far over here that you can go through them all. Most of you aren't going to want to do that. You're going to want to sort down some. So in Pathways, you could look for Agent. And now it's bringing up the things that are more or less just towards the agents. We have delivering the fair housing. Many of you know that there was a big to-do about fair housing in New York maybe 2 months ago that could possibly affect us in the near future. They found a lot of people up there were appointing folks towards houses just based on race, color, whatever they were doing, and they got in a lot of trouble. Virtual lead gens. Lead gen for farming. There was one thing I was going to look for, getting started with video. If you've never done video before, this will tell you how to get started with it and what to do with it. So there's a lot of stuff in the Learning Library. We go into products and tools. The BHG Marketing Center. They just rolled out the new Marketing Center in here. A lot of you guys were at my class last week. If you weren't, this is a class that they've done on how to use it. Social Ad Engine and List Track. List Track is how we follow our listings and post to our sellers how often it's been seen. this is going to be a fairly simple class, I can tell you. There's one thing I was looking for that we'll get to eventually. My courses. Now, as you take courses and as you complete them, this is going to keep track of what you've done. So if somebody comes to me and says, Greg, I've got all these leads, but I'm not closing any of them, I'm going to see if you were taking classes on how to close leads or how to overcome objections. And you can select the cohort that you haven't completed and see how to finish it. Scripts library. These are just plain old scripts that you could use when talking to someone. Now, I want to tell you my story about scripts. I'm not a big believer in scripts because when you think of scripts, you think of somebody in a call center who's reading word for word what they told him to read when he's answering phone calls. And the problem is we all have scripts that we use every single day. We just don't think of them as scripts. One of my favorite videos is of, I can't think of the actor's name. It's from A Few Good Men. And it's how that actor could say the line over and over again from 4 different camera angles. And the director said, I couldn't tell the difference of which one he read. He did it so perfectly each time. You have to take these scripts and own it and make it your own and make it so they roll off your tongue. But especially when you're a new agent, you may not know what to do for a script. Or if you're working on some scripts about the stay-at-home stuff, here's a whole bunch of things that you could talk to about how to talk to your sphere, how to work with senior and compromised, first responders, and so on. There's a lot of information in here that, while we consider them scripts, also might make you think about how you would talk to somebody in that position. Let's go back to, calendar. This brings up an interactive calendar of classes that they are going to be teaching mostly across the U.S. So today is what, the 16th? They're doing Prosper session 3 at 2 o'clock. That'd be stupid to enroll in session 1, but there is a general lead sphere of influence. And it's a workshop that you can get into. So all of these classes are virtual classes. They're not teaching any on site right now, that you can attend a live class and interact with the instructor.
Greg,
yes?
I'm taking that Prosper class right now.
Uh-huh.
And I have to say that it is really involved and intense.
Uh-huh.
You really learn a lot. I'm very impressed with it. Of course, it has me doing some things I don't really want to do, but I'm learning from it. So,
well,
yeah, it's a great program.
You're doing things you don't want to do because this is a job and you have to do those things in order to make the job happen. If you all remember, a couple of years ago, Dixie was in a live class here with Sandesh, and Sandesh actually made her cry in the back of the room. And then a week later, what you guys may not know is she did exactly what he made her do, and she got great results from it. So these are things that you just don't sit and wait for business to come. You have to do stuff you don't want to. And these instructors are really good. They really are. Much better than I could ever be. RE Scoreboard. This is where you get to RE Scoreboard, and I think one class I gave, Tanya said, can I get to that all the time? The answer is yes. RE Scoreboard is where you can say, I want to have a goal of, and you can set up your goals, how many contacts I want to make per day. You can set up how many appointments you want per week. And Lance will go through this with you, Tanya. And while some of this you start saying is very involved, I don't know, do I want to plan it that way? The problem is, too many people look at this, in my opinion, a little backwards. you work the formula of, I know that I need to contact 5 people a week to have one contract per month. And I shortcutted that a little bit, but I know I need to talk to 5 people to get X number of appointments, to get those appointments to convert, and so on, to turn into a sale. And that's fine if you're only looking at the money. Greg thinks that you ought to be disciplined enough that you say, I'm going to make 5 appointments a day or 1 appointment a week, and I know that it takes X number of contacts to get those appointments. And then concentrate your efforts right here in the contacts and appointments. Because if you're doing these, you'll get results. And if you're doing these and you're not getting results, then we can start looking at, well, you've contacted enough people, you're getting the appointments, let's work on your presentation or your closing techniques or, and find out why you're not getting to the next step. But if you aren't doing any contacts and no appointments, it's hard to tell if you know how to close something. So that's our eScoreboard. We went to the scripts library and the learning plans. The broker learnings for me, obviously. Learning plans are availability where we could decide if you're poor in this section, we could assign you certain learning plans so that you would go through all the classes that would help you get there. All the classes you need for DASH and so on. Now, we've not done a lot of that yet, and that will be something that we will start looking at now that the university is getting a little better. Now, I wanted to see if I could find something I saw earlier that I saw just for Lance. Let me see if I can remember it. Campaigns, marketing value propositions. See if I get the next results. Communities. Oh, I did want to go into communities. So another thing that's happening is they're putting together communities of people that are doing stuff. And to get into the communities, you would come in here and go to agent community. And then people will post in here. So they've started putting posts in here. How are you doing this? How are you doing that? And you can interact with other people across the US. Okay. Now then, I've got to find the agent. Maybe it was under products and tools. Social engine, marketing, social media, bring it up, listed. You can see all these classes in here. Boost by HomeSmart, print marketing, personalized magazine. And I promise I'm going to go into one of these in just a second. Navigating to courses. You know, I just flipped through it and saw it so easy earlier. I thought I would find it. SOAR, lead gen, tips for overpriced. Steve is a fantastic broker. Creating habits, farming, social media sales, social media, Instagram, how to hustle. You can see there's a lot of classes in here. Lance, I'm going to have to find it. They were talking about how to put together your campaign of newsletters and such to get to people. So I will find that for you. But whenever you're in one of the, let's go down to specialized just to see what that is. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Whenever you're in some of these classes, I want to go to products and tools. And you want to find out about the Marketing Center, you can click on learn more and you've got a video that takes you through the class. And this class is 11 minutes. So you can see it's not going to take you forever to do that. And I think I'm going to give up on finding the campaigns that I wanted for now. So now that I've kind of shown you guys this, do you have any classes that you would like to look at? Do you understand it? Do you have any questions at the moment? I would agree with Suzanne that the live classes are very intense and would be good for you. Boy, that was easy. Now to question 1.
Oh, well, I have a question on Zap. I've been trying to get into Zap, and it keeps asking me for a password, and so I don't know what the freaking password is. So I put forgot password, and then it switches over to a screen that says that's not available.
Your password for Zap is the same as your password for the greenhouse.
Okay. Okay.
If that helps.
Yeah, that helps.
Greg, I've got a question for you. I love this layout compared to the old Be Better University. However, my concern is for like Tanya, for example, you have so much standing here, sitting here in front of you. It's like a giant buffet. Where do you start? Is there, I know the GROW program. We've got the instructor manuals and the student handouts and so forth for new agents and so forth. But does Better Homes and Gardens have like a plan? Okay, you need to start here for new agents. Here's where you need to start for experienced agents, except instead of like, okay, where do I go next? Because I'm sitting here looking at this going, well, if I was in Tanya's shoes, where would I start?
So I started in here, and again, I have to apologize. I have a broker view, and I have no way to see what Tanya says. But if I were to look down at learning plans, there are going to be some predefined plans that pop up in here. Now, where they all connect to, I don't know. And Lance, frankly, part of what you and I get to do is say, Tanya, you really ought to look into blank because this is a good class for you to know. But they have the Zap pre-launch. Well, that would be a good one for her to do because Zap is a class, is something that she's going to need to put her contacts into. And I believe that you can look at there and say, okay, I want to now take this Zap learning plan. Another one would, and then of course you've got your Zap journey. Seeds to Success is what the old GROW would be. And I'm going to be teaching her GROW, and GROW will then assign her back into some of these. The new Associate Greenhouse Overview. That might be a good one for you to look at because those classes will tell you all about the greenhouse and how it works. But in general, knowing what I know about Tanya so fast, she can probably eat through most of these before we even think to assign her. I think the best, yeah, she's laughing. I think for the most part, I would start looking at these classes that are popping up right here, lead conversion, the virtual agent, and so on. And then the products and tools, well, the greenhouse is right there. The marketing center is there. Pinpoint is a great tool, but I think Zap would be something that you would look at first. So this front page is going to kind of give you the headline version of what to look at first. Does that help, Lance?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. So what Lance would like me to do is design a series of courses that you ought to be taking. Does that sound right?
Well, I just think they need to be put in a chronological order that makes sense. There's no sense in doing a lead conversion class when you got to generate the leads in the first place.
Which is part of why we're going to be doing GROW. I agree. To try to get that order in it, and we'll probably start GROW for you next Monday. So I'll announce to people that on Monday we'll start doing a GROW session for anyone else who wants to join. And GROW's not all about just learning. GROW's about accountability and it's making sure that you're doing the steps that you need to keep your business going.
And Greg, I'm not going to lie. I'm also asking for myself because I'm seeing some stuff in here. It's like, oh, I could take that, but it's like, where does this fit in? What other classes do I need to take prior to that, et cetera? So
I'm
it's not just for Tanya that I'm asking about.
So it almost sounds like what you would like me to do is maybe kind of scan this over and give you my recommendation of if I were going to be going to the university, this is the order I would go in. Does that sound right?
That's probably a good way to state it.
Okay. I'll work with Amy Shrew as well. I know that they're learning on coming up with more pathways. Like I agree with you. Right now, agent is great, but am I an experienced agent or a new agent? Am I blind? And they're working on developing more pathways in there to help people. But I will kind of try to come up with some things that I think you maybe ought to look at up front, and then put out that list someplace where we can get to it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Anyone else got any comments at the moment?
Greg,
Yes.
you were looking for where the newsletters are.
Uh-huh.
That's in digital marketing. I send that out every month.
Okay. Digital marketing. Now, is that in the new digital marketing or the old digital marketing? Because it just changed over.
Ooh.
Exactly.
I've been using it for a long time, so I guess I've probably been using it from the old.
Okay, I will see what I can find out on that. And I will also say that we are not having a class Thursday because that's the day we're doing all of our
Pictures.
all of our photos. So that's going to be a busy day. The BHG marketing, postcard, social media, graphics, and so on. And part 1, how to use Digital Marketing Center to create customized flyers, newsletters, and other marketing centers. So there's the class right there that you would want to launch. So what I did is I typed in up here newsletters. The search bar is pretty good. It took me to the marketing center. It told me here are the upcoming classes. And here's the way to launch that class so Lance can learn how to do newsletters. But I agree with you. It would be better if we had a more, here's what I would go look at if I were you guys first. So I'll try to put together some sort of my thoughts on where you should go. And I say let's continue to share thoughts with other people as we learn them. Okay? Other thoughts? Questions? Okay then, guys. Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn off the recording so Alita will be happy. And